morning and welcome to Chronically Happy's episode of Dashcam Diary I Disabled with me, Chronically Happy. I am extremely late to my chiro. What's new? I'm even more late than usual. My appointment starts like right now and I'm just now getting on the highway to get into town. I'm going to be a good 20 minutes late. I'm only going to get a half-hour appointment, roughly. I was even up at my normal 6:30 a.m. time frame, but I had a lot of watering to do out in the yard, and I had to pick the stuff in the garden. This morning is the best time to do it, and I just didn't allot myself the extra time. I don't have extra time in the morning. I know this. I'm always late. Go figure. Today I'm in a mood. I was up kind of late because I was trying to get great pictures of the aurora borealis and the tail end of the meteor shower. I had to drive like a good 20 minutes a direction in order to get some okay pictures. Probably the best pictures I'll ever get of it, unless I go to Alaska and go see it when it happens up there in the winter. Which is doubtful. I don't think that's going to happen. One of these mornings I just need to do a dash cam live, honestly. But again, I'm kind of scared of comments. I mean, I want comments on my videos, but like live stream comments, I have no control over what people say. And so it kind of scares me. Not gonna lie, it scares me. I don't know what y'all are gonna say, because I'll just get random people that are subscribed to my channel, and other people are like, what is this? Who are you? What are you doing? You know, I won't be able to really interact because I'm driving for one, and yeah. My sinuses are draining. I did my very last sinus rinse. I don't have any more distilled water. I am broke. I have enough money for my prescription of $100 after I get done with all my doctor appointments this morning. I have doctor appointments back to back. I have a chiropractor, and then I have my pain management doctor with my patches. Then he's going to make me do a drug test. And then he's going to see all the drugs in my system of the anxiety meds. And he's going to see the little bit of medication that's still left in my body. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting whether it's 6 or 5 or what. I want to know the difference between it being in my system with steroids versus not steroids now. This is all an experiment to me. Like, that's how I view this. Like, I want to learn like how my body in particular breaks medication down versus the regular population, because I know there is a difference. 100% I know there's a difference. But my doctor refuses to acknowledge that there's any difference, because all humans are human and all bodies are supposedly working the same. But he hasn't treated an EDSer like me before. To say that I'm special is true. I have weird abnormalities that my body functions kind of like it's supposed to, but there's differences in absorption and enzymes and the way my connective tissue. Doctors don't even know how much faulty connective tissue affects a human. They really don't. Nobody's really researched how connective tissue really affects a person. And if they have faulty connective tissue, affects every part of a being. It really does. Physically, mentally, blood vessel-y, nervous system-y, immune system-y. We're all altered in a very unique way. And I wished I could be more of a medical presenter, but have it still be entertaining enough. I don't know what that balance is, because I know I'll bore to death a lot of people with my medical terminology, and I don't know what she's talking about. Which I get. I understand not everybody has an interest in learning anything medical, but when you have such a faulty system such as my own, it really intrigues me and makes me want to learn, why are things different? Even though I'm still a human, but why are things so different from me? I don't know if I'll ever answer that question. But it sure in the heck is not going to deter me from trying by having as many tests and repeat tests as possible and see what the differences are. I just don't know. Yeah, I'm late taking my morning medications because I'm running late as per usual. And there's a bone to pick with one of the generics I get. Seriously. This topic is a little bit of a crossover between illegal and legal drugs, medication. For whatever reason, I do research on all kinds of topics. I love to learn, and I love to spread my knowledge of what I do learn from either my own learning or through just my experiences. I guess I wouldn't mind being a teacher, but I would not be a professional teacher. They don't get paid enough, and a lot of the kids are just jerks. So, anyways, from what I've heard online and the dark web and other places where I've had to Google search and get whatever knowledge I can get off the internet about certain illegal drugs. Maybe I should get a trigger warning on this video. So, also, a disclaimer: I do not condone the use of any illegal drugs or illegal drugs off prescription use. Although doctors prescribe medication all the time off use. I don't know what the right disclaimer to say. But what I have learned and read from the internet, it almost makes me think the information rings true when it comes to even legal medication, whatever the case may be. So my Aderall is typically blue in color. I've had 4 different colors of Aderall now, and 5, several different versions of it. Time release, instant release, 20 milligrams, 10 milligrams, 5 milligrams. I've had multiple different prescriptions of my Aderall that a doctor has always written for me. I have never bought this on the street. I would never know what illegal purchasing of prescription drugs is like on the street. I don't know. I don't do that kind of thing. I am a legal, law-abiding citizen with my medication. Anyways, my Aderall. So there's this version, or this generic, this manufacturer makes it a more oval shape, and they have a really clear-cut line on it to make it easy to cut in half. A lot of the time, I can get away with just taking 5 milligrams and be fine, but I've been lazy and I just haven't been cutting them in half lately, and I've just been taking really trying to find the root cause. They'll be like, this really looks like this is what you got. They really don't investigate very well. They don't want to. They don't want to spend the money. It's the government. They're trying to save money when it comes to certain things, including the public that they should take care of. Everybody, whether you serve or not, everybody should be taken care of in a better way than they do. And our healthcare system sucks, and they don't treat us as we deserve to be treated. Veteran or not, this is just the state of our healthcare right now. And it's only gotten worse in the last 10 years. But anyways, before I get off on that tangent, back to my Aderall. I have now tried this version, the oblong, oval, this manufacturer. This one is actually probably my favorite manufacturer because the difference between the filler ingredients versus this versus like 2 or 3 of the other ones that I've tried. And I think for a lot of distinguished purposes for being able to identify pills and such, they do like to put different dyes in medications. Apparently this is blue. But whatever the case may be, I'm getting to my point, I promise. This is still my favorite. The ovals, they taste like, even though it says amphetamine salts, it's the same thing according to the pharmacy, because they all go under different formulatory things with their manufacturer, whatever. But this manufacturer with the ovals and the blue at the 10 milligram dosage, they put a little dextrose in it, sugar. These pills, I can taste the sweetener in it. Like, I can actually take my Aderall without any or any water or any beverage because the pill actually tastes good because it has sugar in it. It's got dextrose in it. Why that manufacturer decides to put dextrose in it, I really don't know. I do know that with the way that the body interacts with dextrose, sugar, natural sweeteners, or, real sugar versus natural sugars in fruits and vegetables, whatever you're eating. Whatever the case may be, this manufacturer, I think, does it the best. And it works best with me with this manufacturer. Now, I've had other prescriptions where it doesn't say amphetamine salts, and it says amphetamine dextroamphetamine. So there is only one molecule difference between amphetamine and dextroamphetamine, but there is a difference, and there is a molecule difference, an ion, cation or ion. I'm not quite sure. It's been a while since I've taken chemistry, guys, so like I said, I'm not very accurate with my chemistry, organic chemistry, biochemistry, pharmaceutical chemistry. I only have very limited knowledge. I mean, as much as I'd like to say, I got my doctorate from Dr. Google. My learning disability, my learning delay, my processing, like the dyslexia really messes it all up. ADHD stuff, it really messes with my head, and I can't keep certain facts straight unless I've looked at them on my phone or a computer recently. And sometimes I just have to go back and revisit topics over and over again sometimes just to remind me what I need to know. Especially as I'm about to dive deep into going back to a VA doctor. I have to know my stuff. I have to be prepared. I have to be prepared for a doctor that may or may not listen to me and gaslight me. I have to be prepared for everything. I really wish I could see my medication manager before I go. My part of the mechanism that helps break down or have the body break down, or the certain cells or enzymes or whatever it is that helps my body determine what to do with the medication once I put it in my body. It's up to my body to do. I have no choice in the matter. My body functions the way it functions. I was born with this body, and I've got to learn about it and see why it's different, and help doctors understand that I'm slightly different, and to please treat me as an individual patient, and don't just kind of shrug my information off because it's important. Because if that doctor ever does treat another EDSer, they have a slight understanding of how messed up and different that patient can be compared to the norm. Just because of these bizarre instances, I know things are different with me. I just finished it. I swear this freaking took me forever. My pharmacy had to give me like a partial fill of one manufacturer versus a different manufacturer for my Aderall, and I've never once taken it until recently, the white Aderall pill. I don't know what manufacturer is different. I could have looked it up. I could have this knowledge to tell you, but it doesn't matter the manufacturer. The information is still the same manufacturer, known or not. These white Aderall pills, I swear, they did absolutely nothing for me. I still slept throughout the day. They didn't really help me focus. I don't know what the difference between white versus blue is, but all I know is blue works better, which gets me back to the very beginning of my conversation about illegal substances. What I have read about illegal pharmaceuticals on the street is blue is usually the most potent. So there's something to do with blue dye. I mean, my family kind of like growing up had a lot of biases, a lot of stereotypes, a lot of biases about things, and gosh, I forgot where I was going to go with this. My skin started itching and I got distracted about my itchy skin. I don't know what it is, but blue just works better. Oh, what I was going to say, in the 80s, there was like a thing about, like, a lot of things came to light, like in the 80s, 90s, of new things, new information. You know, we had the whole anti-vax movement start about how vaccines are giving children autism and Asperger's and stuff. And honestly, now that I've had a lot of vaccines and stuff that were forced upon me in my military years, and now I have all these autoimmune diseases, and I'm very, very ADHD when I wasn't as ADHD as a kid. I mean, I still had ADHD, but like, my symptoms have only gotten worse as an adult, and they only got more pronounced when I was in the Navy, with having celiac disease pop up first, and then my thyroid popped up as being jacked up. And for some reason, and this really sticks out in my mind, when I first got out of the military and I started first going to the VA clinic with my doctor, I didn't really have I was assigned a primary care physician, but they were having a very high turnover rate at my local Salem VA clinic. The location kind of sucked too. It was in the same building as the IRS building. They really didn't have the space for the amount of patients that they had. They didn't have the employees. You know, they really, things have changed a lot since the time I got out in 2010 from the Navy, and with the VA clinic. My local VA clinic has, since 2010, has built a brand new clinic in town. It's all nice and big and fancy. It's not anymore because it's like, 10 years old now or something. But it was all shiny, nice, and new. But the whole point that I was getting to is I didn't really have a steady primary care doctor, but one of the first ones I did have, he was just kind of filling in and waiting until there was a doctor that they could get filled in that position to cover the patient load that this guy was filling in. This guy was actually a higher up doctor that, typically wouldn't see patients because he's been with the VA for so long and he's been in the field for so long that he just, he was more of a head honcho kind of doctor. But what I do remember when I very first got, I got my physical after I got out of the service, I went to the VA clinic, just to get established and get more tests ran because I got medically discharged. I had a lot of medical problems that weren't diagnosed. It took me a little over a year to get my celiac disease diagnosed, and the VA still denied me that claim. And it was because of the wait list, and it was because I couldn't get my freaking endoscopy scheduled within that year time frame. And so they purposely have denied me my service connection because you have up until a year to get diagnosed with anything after service that counts for service connection disability with the VA. So all because of an extra 2 months added onto my time frame, I'm denied celiac disease as part of my service connection disability, even though it's the very first thing that I recognized as being a problem. And I changed my entire life because of celiac disease. It was the hardest thing I ever had to do besides learning about my thyroid at the same time. But what I was going to get, I'm almost to my appointment. But what I was going to get at is that Navy doctor, that man, what really stuck out to me, he says the majority of all women in their 30s have thyroid issues. And that struck me as odd because I'm like, I don't know any woman that has thyroid issues, like especially in my family. There was nobody in my family that had thyroid issues. Why would that doctor say the majority of women, if they don't have it in their 30s, are going to have it later in their life? Why? That question I've still never really figured out the answer to that question. But for that doctor to tell me that really stood out to me in the very beginning before I even got all my gaslighting doctors and stuff after him. For every military veteran that he saw, every woman veteran had thyroid issues. What is the connection between that? Like, that makes me have like conspiracy theory vibes, foil hat, tin hat thing. Like, what is it about you pump us veterans full of that women have these issues in their 30s? And then now a whole host of other autoimmune problems ever since then. Once you have one, you usually get more. And to come to find out, they didn't want to even test me for autoimmune thyroid issues. They were just like, thyroid is thyroid, don't matter whether it's autoimmune or not. And all the research that I was reading said differently. Autoimmune thyroiditis is different than regular thyroid issues. There's got to be something there. Anyway, gotta go. Peace out.